Merry Christmas and welcome to Love Me Some Cooking with Vicki. Today we are going to make 4 different little things that you can take to neighbors or coworkers. Little gifts from your heart, and they are fun to make. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make what they call crockpot candy. Now this is not the kind of crockpot candy that you've probably researched on the internet that calls for almond bark and German chocolate, because I don't like either one of those. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to make our own. 4 ingredients. Still the same, but just not those 4. We're going to start with a little can of roasted peanuts. I got the salted kind because I like salted. You can chop these up a little bit if you want, but why not? Then I'm going to add a bag of Nestle milk chocolate chips. Just pour on top. And dark chocolate chips. I use the Ghirardelli, but put those on top. And 1 bag of Rolos. Now these things are fantastic because they're already unwrapped. So I'm just going to put these on top. The reason I want to put these on top is because the caramel kind of oozes into them. This is going to cook on low for about 3 hours. You don't need to spray your crock pot. This is just basically warming it up so that you can stir it with a wooden spoon. And you just want the caramels on top. That way they kind of just, they're not going to burn if they're at the bottom. And that way they'll just kind of meld into the rest of them. And we're just going to put that on low for 3 hours. Alright, that's easy enough. This makes about, I don't know, we'll count them out later when we're done, but usually about 50 to 70 depending on the size of little clusters that you want to make. So now we're going to get started with our little homemade turtles. I've got my oven preheated to 250 degrees. I've got just, look, your basic little heart-shaped pretzel. I put the flat side down, and yet again, another Rolo. We're going to cook these for about 8 minutes. You want to keep your eye on them at 250 degrees, and when they come out, we're just going to take a little M&M and kind of push it down on it. That way the Rolo will flatten a little bit, and then let them sit like that till I pop them out and put them in bags. So 250 degrees for about 8 minutes. Now we are going to make an easy caramel, homemade caramel. All it takes is a crock pot on low for anywhere between 7 to 10 hours, and I'll explain that in a second. And you want to use Borden sweetened condensed milk. Do not use fat-free. For the love of Pete, it's caramel. You got to go fattening, and you're giving it away, so who cares? But if they get fat or not. But I'm using this little bitty pipe jar. What I'm going to do is I am going to, now some people cook this in the can. You know, I'm not saying you can't do that. It just kind of scares me a little bit with cooking it in the can. I know my husband's a scientist, so he says there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a glass jar. Plus, I like it this way because that way I can watch and see how the color is turning of the caramel. The darker the caramel, the richer it is, but you don't want it to get too dark because of the fact that it's hard to stir. And I believe one of these cans would end up making 1.5 of these. So use your judgment of how many you need to make for your neighbors or coworkers. Yeah, that would absolutely make another half. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put the lid, and you don't need to sterilize these. Not a big deal. We're going to put the lid and the flat part in the lid on here. And just screw it. Screw it. Merry Christmas. Alright, just kind of make it tight, and then we're going to put it into a crock pot filled with water. If you use the cans, and you can cook in the can, make sure you put a towel at the bottom because you might get a rust ring. That's why I like the ball jars. Plus, they're already ready to give away. So, you just want to make sure the water is actually going above the milk line. So as long as that happens, then it's fine. If it goes below it, then it can pop. And look, you could fit, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 in an average size crock pot that you could cook at one time. Alright. I'm just doing the one to show you guys. But this could be a gift for each and every coworker or neighbor. going to put a lid on it, put it on low, like I said, for 7 to 10 hours. Now this gift can either be made a month in advance, or when you give it to them, you can give them the directions. So what you're going to do, we're making homemade vanilla extract. You are going to take another one of these little jars. These jars are like less than $2 a piece. Sometimes you can buy them in bulk and they're even cheaper than that. And you're going to take 2 vanilla beans. If you go to Jungle Gems or some of your nicer Kroger's or grocery stores, you can buy these things for like $2 for a packet of 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to split it down the middle. Okay, you want to leave one end intact and leave the legs open. Woo! Merry Christmas. Alright, then you're going to stick these in here, and then you're going to pour vodka over the top. Actually, I'm not going to do this because I've got a point to make. And you're going to pour it over the top, and you're going to just shake it with the vodka inside. You can fill it all the way up to here, and you shake it once a week for 4 weeks. Put it in maybe your basement. Good time to start making these would be November, so you can still make them now and hand them out. Just tell people to shake it once a week for the next 4 weeks. So you do that. Then, yet again, you don't have to sterilize these jars, especially with this one because there's alcohol in it. And what it ends up being, it turns like this. So this, and you just shake it right before you use it, and that kind of disperses the vanilla beans in there. This is the best vanilla extract you will ever have in your entire life. That's the crap you buy from Kroger's. This is fantastic. It will absolutely increase or make the flavor of your baked goods so much better by using this. And the cool thing is that all you have to do is add, I've already done this twice, but you can add more vodka to it as it's going down and just leave it sit for like a week before you use it. That way you can replenish it as it goes. But this is a really great gift. So let's go ahead and get the Rolos out. Alright. Now we're going to finish up our little turtles. And we're going to break everything in the house. So the caramel is hot. That's what you want. But you're going to take an M&M. I'm using the red and green. And carefully kind of push it down on the melted Rolo. You know, a coworker of mine actually taught me how to make these things, so I cannot take credit for them. And I know people have seen them before, but they're fun and cheap. But a guy named Mike that I used to work with, ornery character, but fun. Man, he's funny. Taught me how to make these things. And this is a good little project to make with your kids. If you're going to make it with your kids, just make sure that the roll is kind of cool down. But as you smash them down, as you can very well see, the caramel kind of spreads over and the chocolate spreads over the pretzel here. And it looks very cute. And I'm actually doing this with the M&M logo down. Alright, now let these sit till they're cool. And this is made about 70, so if you need to, use your brain and figure how many you need, a few per person in each little bag, that'll be great. But this one made 70. Alright guys, these have been in the crock pot for about 2 hours on low. You can do this honestly on high for about 45 minutes, just make sure you keep an eye on it. So I am just dolloping them on pieces of wax paper into about teaspoon size pieces of nut clusters. And like I said, this recipe right here was one bag of each that we discussed. If you want to make more and you've got more coworkers or more neighbors that you want to do it for, or teachers' gifts or whatnot, then just go ahead and double, if not triple, the recipe. So you can go ahead and leave these sit out at room temperature for a few hours, or you can pop them in the refrigerator if you need to get them done a little. They're so pretty. Alright, I think our caramel is finished. So let's check on it. It's been in here for about 8 hours on low. That's hot. pretty color. You can stir it up a little bit. But that is a pretty caramel sauce. You know, I bet you could put vanilla in here too when you put it in there in the beginning. That way you'd have a vanilla flavored. And also, you could put a little sea salt on top right before you get it ready to be given away. And also with our little candies, you could sprinkle some sea salt on top as well as they're drying. So I've got these little stickers. Actually, hold on. First of all, I took a cupcake liner. Just an average little cupcake liner, but a festive one. And I'm going to stick this right on top. Cute little way to make that look festive. And I got these little stickers from Ball, dissolvable labels. That way you can write a little homemade message on them. This one says homemade caramel sauce. Now, you don't have to give a basket like this to everybody. This one could be for a teacher, for a boss, but all these little things packaged up separately. You can make all these for your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers. It's just kind of fun to do. So look how cute that is. Aww. Aww. I think these are perfect little gifts to give away. So, guys, thank you so much for following me on YouTube. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And I want to say a little special thanks to little Miss Abby for watching my cooking show all the time. You're a little sweetie. Now you can, guys, because there's no excuse. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.